He is a producer for this podcast you may have been hearing on WNYC called There Goes the Neighborhood, about gentrification. Please give a very warm welcome to John Asante.
I'm 24 years old. I feel like I've accomplished a lot in my life, but there's certainly many firsts that I need to get done. And one of them, in some weird shape and form, is sneaking out of a house. I'd never done it as a kid, but I figured the best place to do it would be overseas. So I also really wanted to travel a lot more, and my whole family is from Ghana. And so I saved up enough money, and I went to visit a lot of my family that I'd actually never met, some that I had met. And so I fly out to Ghana. I spend 2 weeks out there with my uncle Sammy, who's my dad's older brother. He's kind of like a grandfather to me. And when I get into the airport in Accra, in the capital, I'm just like overwhelmed with just what's going on, with just people wanting to take my bags or people wanting to, send me off to wherever, like grab a cab. But I see him through like the sea of people, and he takes me off, and he and his driver take me off to his place. And Uncle Sammy is he's doing pretty well. I'm like, I guess this is what college professor money gets you in Africa. Like, I got to his house, and it was like surrounded by a cement wall, and it was pretty modest, a couple bedrooms, couple bathrooms, but I had this amazing porch view just looking out over his part of town, and I'm really excited to be there. I'm like, every day is just a whole lot of fun. I'm meeting like my mom's like cousins. I'm meeting like new cousins of mine that I've never seen. I traveled to my dad's village. He was in this really small village, like in the middle of the country. Just came from like poverty, and just to see where he came from was really awesome. But at the same time, it was really I was kind of awestruck because I also saw where he was buried. He had died when I was really young, and so there's a lot of emotions I was trying to take in, but I was still enjoying the trip overall. And so Uncle Sammy would show me around all these parts of Accra, like the Independence Square, where Ghana gained its independence from England 50 years ago. And he took me to these parts of the University of Ghana where he taught, just showed me all these plaques with his names on them. Like, it was kind of a big deal. And so the days were awesome because we got to just eat and drink and take in all this stuff, but the nights were kind of tame. We'd get back to his place, and my Auntie Jane, his wife, and him and I would just sit down and watch the 6 p.m. news in the TV room. We'd eat our dinner, and that was kind of about it. Like, Uncle Sammy would fall asleep around 7, Auntie Jane would fall asleep around 8, and my night was just kind of dull. Like, I didn't really go out for the first few nights, and I'm like, this has to change, because looking out and like contemplating my existence into this like night sky where I can see the lights, see the stars, is not really cutting it for me. Like, I came to party hard in Accra. And like, the thing about Accra is that, and in Ghana, is that it's, at the time, it was and it still is still a pretty politically stable nation, and the whole city itself was actually like pretty metropolitan. Like, you had like a scene that was kind of like the Lower East Side where people went out and drank and went to clubs, and it was really awesome to see that. And I had friends who told me, you have to go to these clubs. And so Uncle Sammy was a little bit apprehensive, actually a whole lot apprehensive about me going out. And he treated me kind of like I was 12, not 24. And he said, I don't want you to go out. There's still armed robbery that happens. You don't know the area. You don't know the language that well. And I'm trying to convince him that, like, no, I'm fine. Like, I've lived in Atlanta. I lived in D.C. I've been to New York before. I'm like, come on, Uncle. You've been to these places too. You taught in the States. You know how it is. But he wasn't having any of it. So that's when Operation Fake It Till You Make It came into play. And so I thought the only way I'm going to get out is if I just try and get out myself. And so a family friend of mine, Kenny, whose mom grew up with my mom, said, yeah, I'll take you out, man. Yeah, no worries. I'll pick you up on Thursday. We'll go out to a club. It'll be all good. And I said, great. And he's like, your uncle's cool with you going out? And I said, yeah, he's okay with it. So Thursday night rolls around. Or Thursday rolls around in general. We do the same thing. We go out, check out some museums with Uncle Sammy, Auntie Jane. We get some food, get some beer. And then night comes, and I know the rigmarole. 6 o'clock, we watch the news. 7 o'clock, Uncle Sammy falls asleep. 8 o'clock, Auntie Jane falls asleep. And then like their housekeeper comes around and like, picks up our food and everything. So I figure like, okay, all those things are going through. So I just need to make it past a certain point where everybody's asleep, and then I can just get out. But I'm still thinking about like, okay, there's the wall around his house, the cement wall, to just for safety reasons, and he has guard dogs. But these are just kind of strays that are just there to just annoy people. They're not really that vicious or anything. They're not like pit bulls or something like that, or just any like really big scary dogs. But I'm like, I have to figure out a way to get past them. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to wait till everybody's asleep. I'm going to just pretend to go to sleep and then get back out. But I need like clothes to change into just in case I get locked out. And so everything goes as planned. 9:30 rolls around. I'm waiting for Kenny to call. And Uncle Sammy wakes back up and he's like, he comes into the computer room where I'm in and he says, everything all right? And I said, yeah, I'm just checking my emails. Don't worry about it. And he says, okay, don't stay up too late. I mean, it's 9:30 at this point, but he's like 80, so it's okay. I get what he's talking about. Anywho, so my plan goes into action. Kenny calls me at 10:15. I come outside and I get past everybody, even the housemaid's house or whatever, and past the guard dogs. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to get out. But then the housemaid wakes up and I have to try to figure out how to get around her, like figure out like, I'm going to come back. I'm just like visiting a friend. Don't worry. He's just outside. We're just going to talk. And she's like, I guess you don't need these keys then. And I said, oh, yeah, here are the keys. And I just panicked. I didn't know what to do. So I said, forget it. I'll just figure it out when I come back. So Kenny's outside, and he's in the car with his friend. We hop in. It's 10:30. We're about to hit the club. And I'm so pumped. I'm like, yo, I'll get your cover for the night. We'll get you drinks. No, it's all set. So we go to the first club. And like within 10 minutes of leaving, Uncle Sammy calls. And he calls my phone. There's no voicemail on my phone. I have his burner phone. And so the call goes for like 40 seconds. And I'm just like nervous as fuck. I'm like, should I pick up? If I pick up, like mission over. But if I just let it ring, then he doesn't know where I am, right? I'm like, okay, the housemaid must have told him, blah, blah, blah. So I let it ring. Uncle Sammy calls the second time. I don't pick up. He calls the third time. I don't pick up. And I'm starting to get nervous. Kenny realizes it, and he's like, you okay, man? I'm like, yeah, let's go to the club. So we get to the first club. It's like a $15 cover. And I'm like, oh, gosh, is this worth it? And he's like, no, let's go to the next club. And so we go to the next club, and he's like, this one's kind of cool. It's like a pool hall, but there's also dancing there on Thursday nights. I'm like, sure, why not? So we get there, and it's kind of like shady, kind of steamy. It just seems sort of like movie-esque with like a lot of like smoke going on. And there are like these pool ladies, like these like billiards ladies that are like, you pay them and they'll give you the balls. And I'm like, this is so weird. Come to find out later, these are ladies of the night who work at this establishment. And I don't even know how to take it, but... So we're standing there playing pool, and at this point, Uncle Sammy's called about 7 times. I still haven't picked up. And I'm so nervous while playing and contemplating whether this was worth it that I actually end up losing all 3 games. Kenny's friend's over, like, talking to a girl, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I think I just, like, fucked up this night. I tell Kenny around midnight, I'm like, let's just leave. I'm not feeling it. And he's like, oh, it's okay, no worries. When you come back in town another year, we'll go out. And so we're on our way back. Uncle Sammy calls an 8th time, I don't answer. He calls a 9th time, I don't answer. He calls a 10th time, I don't answer. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, should I pick up? Oh my God, I start worrying. I'm like, what if he gets so freaked out by me not calling, he doesn't know where I am, that he ends up having a heart attack and dying? And I just, all these thoughts ran through my head. And I'm like, okay, no, that's too crazy. I'll have to figure out another plan to make Operation Fake Lutia make it like a success. So we're getting back, and Kenny's like, okay, you need to call the housemaid to let you in because you gave her the keys, so give her a call. And I said, yeah, I'll do that. So I pick up the phone and I pretend to call the housemaid. So I'm just like piling lies on top of lies at this point. And I say, yeah, hey, yeah, I'm coming back to the house. Yeah, I'll be there. And Kenny, how long? Yeah, I'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay. And so I pretend to hang up the phone. He has no idea I faked the call and everything. And Uncle Sammy, on the way back, Uncle Sammy calls like a 13th time, a 14th time, a 15th. He calls 17 times. I don't answer. And he, like, again, I'm still freaking out thinking he's, like, had an aneurysm or something. And we get back to the house, and I think Kenny's just going to drop me off and going to say goodbye and whatever, and it's going to be all fine. And he says, no, we just want to make sure you get inside all right. So I have to wait behind the cement wall, like, for the gate to open and everything. And I'm like, okay, I have to call Uncle Sammy at this point because the housekeeper's probably asleep and everything. And so I call him, and I remember that thing he said about armed robbery before being a big thing around the neighborhood. So I call him and I say, Uncle Sammy, I'm so sorry. I just went out for a walk, and this guy just started chasing me. And then, I don't know, he tried to get my phone, and then I lost my phone. And then I didn't know where it had happened. I got lost because there were like no street signs around here, and all these roads are dirt. And oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He's like, all right, it's okay. I'm at the door. Just come in. And he comes in, he gives me a hug. And the crazy part is he believed it. He believed everything I said. I was like standing there hugging him thinking like, this dude has like a PhD on top of like a PhD. I'm like, I thought he'd figure this out. I thought he'd just like read through my lies. And he didn't. And we go back inside and I get to my room. I'm like, did that just happen? But then the last thing I needed to do to cover my tracks was pick up my actual bag that I left as like kind of like my getaway clothes to make sure I concealed all the evidence. And I realized sneaking out isn't really as good as it really seems. Thank you.